Dee has been consistent the 15 years or so I've known her about this empowerment of women. She goes literally all over the world now, giving seminars, coaching. She does one-on-one coaching and all that to particularly females who want to advance in life. And these are from students all the way up to mature women that are already maybe in business, but they want to do more for their business. But she has a new book out. She has a number of books. She also does podcast programs, but it's called Emotional Emancipation. Emotional Emancipation is how do you empower yourself? And now this gets to, for both males and females, is that we all need to do this. And this is something we have to look at inside ourselves, is how each day through Rotary, Service Above Self, the 4-way test, are we actually doing this very same thing? And Dee's going to address that. And Dee, thank you for being here. Let's give her a round of applause.
All right, let's do this. I'm so excited and delighted to be here with you today. And I'm grateful and thankful to God for positioning me to where I am in life right now. Just like everybody, we fall down, we get up, we move on, we do what we have to do. But guess what? Life is good. Today is Love Day. So we're going to talk about looking for love in all the wrong places. I'm an expert, and you're going to learn how I'm an expert as we go on. But I am truly an expert, been there, done that, and did not realize that love comes from within. Self-love first. Love means different things to different people. It depends literally on who you are talking to and what is going on in their lives at that moment. However, true love is unique and passionate. It is a passionate bond that connects you and the other person with both wanting the best for each other. Regardless of what that means, true love is the foundation for a healthy, loving relationship. Know that identifying and finding love starts with you. This is a common mistake that we all make. It starts with you, not outside of you. Loving yourself literally attracts the right partner. Most of us didn't know that. I didn't. Self-love can help you change your love story. I'm a witness. Every day, thousands of couples say I do and commit to what they think is going to be a blissful, lifelong relationship filled with joy, passion, friendship, support, and hopefully everlasting love. Except for the overwhelming majority, it does not work out that way. Relationships are not always successful, including, hear me, the ones that last. They're there, but it's not successful. Of all the people who get married, stats show that only 3 in 10 marriages remain healthy. Imagine 7 out of 10 marriages won't make it, becoming bitter and dysfunctional. They stay together for the children, for convenience, or they live miserably without love or happiness. For this very reason, I present to you looking for love in all the wrong places. The desire to love and to be loved is universal. And the reality is, until you have it, and by it, I mean unconditional love, you will probably keep looking for it. The words of a woman, you're listening to the words of a woman who witnessed family and friends suffering silently in miserable, dysfunctional marriages. You're listening to a woman who, despite seeing her friends suffer, fell into the same trap. Despite my rough beginnings, I earned university degrees and started and managed a multi-million dollar business for 28 years. Mind you, none of that was easy, but learning what love is, learning how to find love was harder than achieving success in the academic and the business worlds. Go figure. I looked for love in all the wrong places and suffered the consequences until I learned the single most important thing, absolutely essential thing about love. Therefore, I'm sharing my experience because I want to help others. As Dr. Sam mentioned, empowering women. I want to help women lead a richer life. I want to help you guys also lead a richer life and fine tune your search for the ideal partner. Are you ready? We're going to take a deep dive. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Sit back, relax. I'm here to tell you, Dr. D, has had 4 marriages, 1, 2, 3, and 4, that all ended in divorce. That's right. 4 marriages, 4 divorces. Finally, the lesson stuck. I came to realization that I always looked outside for love, not looking inside, outside of myself. Yes, you heard that right. And this is a full disclaimer. You are listening to a How to Find Love topic from someone who has had 4 failed marriages. So you ask yourself, why would we take advice from a 4 times divorcee? Here's why. When you're dating and looking ahead and hoping for a great relationship, that's foresight. And foresight can be fuzzy. Hindsight, on the other hand, is 2020, and it's absolutely priceless. It's hard to see patterns when you're in them, or to make the right choices, to see past that chemical cocktail we call love. It's hard to spot red flags before it's too late, and to know what you want if you haven't defined it. It's all about defining, guys. Even though my 4 marriages ended badly, I wouldn't call them failures. Instead, they were powerful teachers. In fact, they were extraordinary teachers. Isn't it ironic that we learn so much more from adversity than we do from an easy life? So, allow me to review the 4 steps to looking for and finding love. Number 1, know what you want and ask for it. My first marriage was 100% convenience based. I wanted out of the house and from under my father's double standard rule. Do as I say, not as I do. You've heard it, okay? I was fleeing what was going on in my home of origin and took the first convenient escape. Without really knowing what it was I was looking for, I got, mind you, in 6 short months, smacked around so much so, I quickly said, gotta go, got to go. I'm out of here. So whether you enter a relationship or marriage out of an escape or out of love or lust, you got to first know what you want and ask for it. Think for a moment. Is it more important to get relief from the pain of what you're running from, opposed to the joy of what you're running to? If you tend to get the opposite of what you want, it's because you are focused on getting away from what you don't want. Your attention, your mental and emotional energy are still stuck on the problem. Focusing on what you don't want is a recipe for either a bad or no relationship. Been there, done that. I just want to be with someone is a common singles plea. The focus is on being alone. So the brain goes, okie dokie, you ordered alone. So let's make sure you swipe left on everyone who could be an actual match. Could be is the operative. Go through your wants and needs and clearly define whether each one will make you feel relief from what you don't want or joy of what you want. Remember, relief comes from other people, but true joy is independent. It's all in you. Also, make sure it's love, not lust or convenience based. How many times do we go there? So ditch the past and undo the conditioning that has literally kept you from knowing what you want. Never ever enter a relationship that you know in your gut is wrong. How many times do we do that? You can achieve this by creating a vision. A vision allows you to spell out exactly what it is you want. It can propel you to success in many areas, not just love. If you see it, you can achieve it. Also, a vision can literally support your knowledge. Some say knowledge is power, but Dr. D says knowledge is potential power. It's what you do with that knowledge that makes it powerful. How about men and women held to different standards of acceptable behavior? Absolutely not. Never accept bad behavior by virtue of gender. Have zero tolerance for abuse or bad behavior. We've all heard men are the breadwinners. Come on now. You already know some of us girls are working longer and harder, earning breadwinner status. Nothing against you guys, but some of us are doing it. And there is, and I quote, men have the final say. Still up for grabs. Need I say more? Grandma may have shared her words of wisdom, but it's not all relevant when looking for love. Know that it is literally okay to question what was imparted to you by grandma about finding love. Remember, how much love you radiate outward is the same amount that's going to come back to you, give you what you want to receive, and magnetically attract even more love as it bounces back like a boomerang. So, challenge what you've learned in the past or what you were conditioned to believe. Don't be swayed by the cover. Read the book. This love is a manual. It's a book. Read the book. Don't just flip through the book. Read the book. I went into the next marriage after a 15-year hiatus thinking, okay, this one is because I have time on my side. Not realizing I was dealing with my old mindset. I was in denial about the book. Although I had decided no more and was done after the second marriage, my godmother made the introduction of what she called, not me, the perfect gentleman from her church in the Midwest. Mind you, tall, dark, handsome, IT professional, divorced, and 11 years my senior. I'm thinking, okay, he has a few years. He knows what's going on. Okay, I admit he was kind. He was considerate. He was good looking. I've already told you that. A true gentleman with no visible negatives. I thought, oh my, he is perfect for Dr. D, at least visibly. I spent a great deal of time imagining how he would be worth coming out of my lull, my reprieve. Needless to say, I took the dive. With this marriage, I saw an exceptional cover with unlimited potential. It was only upon opening the book that I realized he was a mama's boy. While a marriage is supposed to consist of two, there were three in this marriage. The marriage was doomed and failure was certain with mama's instructions. Now, mind you, Dr. D is running her multi-million-dollar business, working 14, 16 hours some days, and then I'm getting instructions from mama? I don't think so. By the way, the cover gave no warning. Whatever, 3 down. Okay, I found out just by looking at myself one day and saying, I'm creating a history of being attracted to guys with awesome book covers and was stalled each time without opening the book, not to mention reading it. Remember to read the book. And after reading it, you realize there's no substance. Return the bloody book. Get your money back. So don't be swayed by the cover, read the book. Next, never consider purchasing a book if you haven't written your own story. Now you say, Dr. D, what do you mean by that? Well, it's important to know you before you attempt to know and understand someone else. In other words, you need to know and understand your own story before reading someone else's story. I literally fell into the next marriage. Why? Because when you talk about being done, I was totally done. Then lo and behold, my sister decides she's going to introduce me to the most ambitious, successful, driven guy owning multiple rental properties, buildings, and plans to save the world. Girlfriends, not to mention, handsome, all muscles, and eyes that make you go, ooh. We hit it off, got married, and within 2 years, mind you, he was in bed when I left home and in bed when I got back. I had not yet learned to love me. I was caught up in a story clearly written by him without knowing whether it would enhance or detract from my story. Keep in mind, a healthy relationship is where 2 stories merge. Now, what are stories? Stories are what we tell ourselves. And everyone's life experience is made up of stories. Hear me out. The first chapter of your story is your birth. The last chapter of your story is your death. And all the chapters in between represents the life you live. You must write your story, your own story, and then think carefully before modifying it for someone else. The first requirement for writing your story is loving you. Can you look in the mirror and say, I love you? Not most of us. Remember, I was looking for love without loving me. In fact, I was looking for love outside of me. Know that self-love is a superpower and is an integral part of your story. Learning to love you is not being in love with the idea of being in love. It means waking up one morning and being in love. That would be nice, okay? Instead, it's a process where you learn step by step to prioritize you, to say no to other people and say yes to what you want, to listen to your body. How often do we not listen to our body whenever you're making a decision? By the way to know you're listening, does your stomach tie up in a knot when you're making a decision? Does your heart hurt? Does your chest feel constricted? Your body is wise. It knows what to do, and it's speaking to you in the form of physical sensations. Attuning to your body and honoring what it's telling you can position you for loving you and ultimately writing your own story. So never purchase the book until you have clearly defined and well-written story. Better yet, don't even think about entering the bookstore. Go straight by. After 4 awesome teaching experiences, I took the 4-lesson plunge, and now I am finally ready for my love search. Keep in mind, looking for love can be messy, very messy, and challenging. However, implementation of the love lessons with a bit of courage, determination. Quitting is not an option. You can catapult your love search. Now, with all the tools, go find love. Thank you.
Thank you for the subject here. I got 3 pages of notes here, Doctor.
Oh,
Just
okay,
want you to know.
wonderful.
But I'm just going to ask one question. I was under the metaphor of baseball. 3 times you're out. You're struck out.
Yes.
You're out. So I'm done, but I'm not done.
Okay.
I'm like Jerry. I'm resilient. I'm there, and I'm going to do that. Some of the points you made were excellent. So I think it's really hard to stand in front of the mirror, knowing yourself and telling yourself, I love you.
Why is that so hard?
Because, you're not happy always with everything you do, I'm not, I'm a little bit ashamed, mad, disappointed. 3 marriages, like Jerry, No, he doesn't. Thank you. Can you talk about that?
Yes. So, Max, I feel your pain because I was there. I was literally there. My father was abusive, and personal and physical abuse. He was a Korean War veteran. He came back. He lied about his age. He was 16 when he went in. And back then, they weren't checking any records. You gave your age, they believed you. He was on the front line, and he was messed up, literally, in the mind. So when he came home, everybody had to pay, okay? Everybody literally had to pay. So my whole life was centered around finding the man that was going to validate me, the man who was going to love me unconditionally, the man who would not be like my father. So I was on this search. I never knew that it came from within. I never knew I could look in the mirror and say, I love you. I had no foundation. My mom was the most humble, kindest, sweetest, God-fearing woman you would ever meet in life. And she took everything. And we would say, why are you still here? Why don't you leave this maniac? Let's go. She said, I stood before God and I made a commitment till death do us part. And I'm sitting there going, you did? And she would take the physical abuse. And so I thought the validation came from the man. So I was going to look for a man different than my father, not knowing what made him act the way he acted. I just thought he was a mean person. So I started on my search, but I never knew about love because I didn't learn love from my household. There was no love there. My mom was putting up with everything and he was dishing everything out. So that life positioned me to go searching, not from within, but searching outside. And I thought that was the answer. So 3 marriages, that's nothing. I got 4. But no. But seriously, when you really stop to think about it, knowing that love is within, people treat you the way you treat yourself. When they see you being abusive and just beating yourself up from inside out, beat down, that's what they think you want. So they're going to give you what you're giving yourself. So Max, you got another chance. And this time, you are going to look in the mirror and you're going to love you. You're going to show your love. You're going to learn what self-love is all about. And you're going to dive in head first. Because once you love you, then others will follow suit. But if you don't ever love you, they're going to treat you that same way. Yes, sir.
Okay, a couple of us are in the 60-year club here.
Okay.
I'll have my 60th wedding anniversary in June.
Okay.
One time.
Yes, beautiful.
I have a problem with what you're telling me.
Okay.
because
Okay.
we have found that about every 5 to 7 to 8 years, we're different people.
Okay.
And what you know about yourself and what you need and things of that sort change over time. And so there's an element of that sharing and communication that's absolutely necessary, that you tell each other what you need.
I totally agree with that statement. At church, about 10 years ago, this couple was celebrating their 75th wedding anniversary. And they got married very early. They were like 87, the guy was 90, I think. And so the pastor said, "What do you attribute this success?" And he's sitting there divorced, okay? And he's thinking, I even messed up. So tell me how you did it. They stood up. The lady went first. She said, "The key that we found was I take care of him and he takes care of me." She said, "I lay his clothes out in the morning. I know what he wants to eat. I know everything about him, and he does the same for me. So we are not selfish people. I give unselfishly to him, and he gives unselfishly to me. And that is our success story." In other words, it's different things. One second, different things for different people, but you have to have a foundation of loving you. Now, I have aunts and uncles that are still together, but they hate each other.
Oh, no.
They literally hate each other. They have affairs and they do all of these things, but they made the commitment to stay. My dad, let me tell you one quick thing about him. When he passed away, 3 people showed up that said they are his children. 3. One that was older than my oldest sister, which was okay because that was before her. One that was my age, and one that was younger than my youngest sister. In fact, he was just at my house yesterday. He's going to New Jersey. But my father was notorious for being a womanizer, but my mom said, "Let him run." And we would say, "Why? Why do you allow him to do this?" And she said, "Look, he'll get tired and he'll wear himself out." She said, and then, but listen, this is her rationale. And then I will enjoy life. My dad died from cancer at 57. My mom lived to be almost 91. She just passed away a few years ago.
I've been part of this Rotary Club since 1973.
Yeah.
I followed my grandfather into DC Rotary, and I've been married to the same woman for 50 years.
Wow. Amazing.
And but
Congratulations.
it's interesting because, I mean, she was sent to heaven, from heaven to, she was sent from heaven to bring me to heaven, because I was a real mess as a teenager. Our first date, we came into DC, drink underage, and I'm driving up, my dad's Volkswagen Beetle. I get in a traffic dispute with a biker gang right in front of the British Embassy, and I never thought I'd see her again. But I went out with her a couple more times, and then my old girlfriend got back from the beach. And I went to her and I said, "Look, I got to go back with my old girlfriend. She just got back from she threw me on the bus for a lifeguard, but now she wants me." So we went back with her. Then at Christmas time,
This is a true story.
this is God's truth. She threw me under the bus again. So I called my pal. He said he needed a ride with his date, and he said, "Why don't you take Jackie out?" So I called her up, went out with her, and we've been going out ever since. And I mean, she's so straight-laced and sweet and kind, and I'm a box of chocolates. And how in the world we ever got together is anybody's guess. But I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, love is great, and I'm a very lucky man. I got 3 wonderful children, 2 grandchildren. God love them.
What a great story.
Thank you for being here. I hope everybody enjoyed you. And your book is in the back, and you can say what it is.
Okay, I got this one. Thank you. So yes, the latest book is called "Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places." It is an international #1 bestseller. My favorite piece is Australia have the books in their libraries. They loved it so much. Because in particular women, we demean ourselves so often, and it's an empowerment thing for them in Australia. And so that's where it's around the world, but in particular Australia in the libraries. And the other book that's back there is called Emotional Emancipation. This book, real quickly, if I can have a minute, that 28-year multi-million-dollar business that I designed, set up, and ran for all those years had a crazy ending. My ex-CFO was running 2 sets of books. And when I knew anything, he had taken over $2 million out of the company and sending invoices, fake invoices to my clients. And so needless to say, I had to pay all of that back. Came in with forensic ITP, CPA, and all these groups coming in, and we just kept digging and we kept finding, we kept digging and we kept finding. With that happening to me, the first thing I thought about was, now I really understand why people commit suicide. Because you think that you're here, you have nothing, you're never going to be anything, you're flat, you want to just crawl under the bed, you want to go in the closet and stay there. But I said, quitting is not an option. So I am going to get down to business. I'm going to roll my sleeves up, get back in the game, get back in the fight, and I'm going to win this. And real quickly, what helped me get there was, and I'm dating myself, when we had cable, I came home about 3 a.m. one night from the office, writing a proposal, turned on TV, nothing was there on HBO. Boxing was on every channel. And so one guy was being...
She's an ex-professional boxer.
Oh, wow. Okay, listen. And so, right, let me move over a little bit. But anyway, I was not a fan of boxing. So, but I said, let me just look at this and see what do people get the thrill? What is the thrill here? So one guy was beating his opponent to a pulp.
Yes.
Eyes swollen, blood running down his cheeks. The bell rang. They ran into the corner. The bell rang again, and out they came. Well, this time, the guy who was getting the beat down came out swinging, landing some punches and missing others. But all of a sudden, he mustered up enough strength to knock the guy flat who was beating him up. And so I looked at that and I thought, okay, the moral to the story is quitting is not an option. If you stay in the game, if you stay in the fight, you may just win. So that book is all about reinvention, transformation, overcoming, moving beyond whatever trial, tribulation, and adversity you're facing. Thank you.
Our club has a tradition. We plant a tree in our speaker's name in your honor. So we will plant a tree in your honor in our next tree planting. And this is the coordinates of your tree. You will be able to locate it. So,
How nice.